This is not going to work. Turn on the light. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Therapeutic Thursdays. My name is Nicole Ruffin, and I am your wellness advocate. I am the CEO of C.A.R.E Therapeutic Massage, and I am an essential oils educator as well as a Reiki master. And today I am going to talk to you about a continuation of our conversation on stress, and we're going to talk about how to maintain composure or to maintain confidence during stress. I do have to say that I will have to cut this, before I even get started, I have to cut this conversation short today. We had a bit of an emergency yesterday, and so I had to make some changes today. So what I'll do is I'll start with that. We've been talking about stress, how to manage stress, how to recognize signs and symptoms of stress, how to recognize the risk factors, and what to do to address them when they come. Stress is going to come into our lives. We can't avoid stress, and so we have to work in a way that when it comes, we know how to handle them. So before I move on, I do want to thank you for joining me on this call, and someone's on the call. I can't see who chimes in, but if you do have an opportunity to chime in or leave a comment, we have a Facebook group called the C.A.R.E Network, and I'd like for you to go and join our network because we help you with your answers to your questions about stress. There's a community there, and we can offer support and offer information, and then we can help you with how to handle stress when it comes. Then I also invite you to invite your friends to the group as well, so we can continue to keep the discussion going. And lastly, we do have a free gift for anyone who joins the community. If you text the word CARE, C-A-R-E, to the number 240-618-2866, we will give you a information about how to recognize 10 stress factors that are not very commonly known. Okay? So once again, we'll invite you to text the word CARE to 240-618-2866 and to join our Facebook community called the C.A.R.E Network. So before we move forward, I just want to tell you what's going on. So one of the capacities in which I work is I provide chair massages to corporate offices. And so I have this annual event that I do here in downtown Washington. And so the contract says October 4th. But here I am on this call on October 5th. And so there was a mix-up in the communication. And so when I showed up yesterday morning, the human resources representative said, "No, you're supposed to be here tomorrow." And I was like, "No, my contract says that I'm supposed to be here today." So me and my team of people had to leave. And so, scheduling is important. And so some of my therapists that I hired for yesterday weren't able to make it today. I had to change my office schedule for today, because I was supposed to be in my Greenbelt office today, and I had 6 clients on my schedule, and I had to move them around so that I could come back today. And I also had to find new therapists to cover, because 2 out of the 4 therapists that I hired were not available to be here today. So, things happen, someone made a mistake, and so I had to, pick up the pieces and make the experience still great for them, but just on a different day. And so what had to happen was I was planning to be on my call. So because of the mix-up, I did have to explain to her, well, I do have a conference call at 2 o'clock and I can't be late. So we had to make some modifications or whatever. So there are solutions to everything. And instead of panicking, I just, informed them of what I needed to do. I was able to find 2 more therapists to help out today. So there are massages going on right now. And I am taking a break so that I could be here with you. But there was no need to panic. There was just, you have to go to plan B. And that's what we did. So let me just give you a brief recap of what we talked about last week. We talked about when it comes to addressing stress, there was 3 things that we had to do. The first thing was we needed to stop taking on new responsibilities. You don't commit to anything new. You don't commit to any more projects. You don't commit to any more groups or tasks until you assess, which is the second thing, what you already have on your plate to do, what you are already responsible or committed to do. And so we divided the list into 2 groups. You have your ongoing list and you have your list that actually have some deadlines when they will be completed. And as you take a look at your list, you can decide, 1, which task you can take on personally, which task you can delegate responsibilities to someone else, someone on your team, someone in your family, that can help support you in carrying out these tasks or responsibilities. And then the third thing is, what can you completely take off your list? What is it that you just cannot do? You really had no reason to commit to it or to volunteer for it, and it's something that maybe that is not of interest to you, and you think it would be better served for someone else to completely take on that role. So that's important because people are depending on you to carry out the job effectively. And if you know that you really can't do it or you're not interested, you really need to assign that to someone else to be responsible for. And then the last thing is to decide moving forward what types of projects or tasks or responsibilities that you will take on so that you are working in a capacity that is effective for your lifestyle, that's helping you reach your personal goals, helping you achieve your dreams, your vision, and your purpose. So I gave an example, like I am a intercessory prayer person. So one of the ways that I volunteer at my church is that I pray for people. However, I like children, but I don't have the training or the capacity to maintain that energy. And so I'm not on the children's ministry at my church. I'll step in if someone needs to go to the bathroom or something like that, but I can't take on a project like that full time because that's not where my gift lies. So I work in my strength by working as a intercessory prayer person at the church. Okay, if you have any questions about that, first of all, if you can hear me, I'm going on and on, but I don't see anybody on the call. So if you're here, if you chime, could you just hit like or leave a comment so that I'll know you're here with me. So what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to keep it brief because I am working today to fill in the mistake from yesterday. So I'm just going to talk about confidence in the capacity when we're having stress, how to remain confident while you're in a stressful situation. And so I'm just going to give you one bullet point today because I do have to get back to these clients. And what we'll do is we'll just continue with this discussion next Thursday. Okay, I do apologize for that, but I do need to be present for the clients that are waiting for their chair massages. So we just wanted to talk about the fact that stress is a natural form of life. We're going to have, we're going to feel overwhelmed. We're going to have stress over family situations, illness, financial collapse. Maybe we have family members who have special needs. maybe have problems on our job, or we're just experiencing extreme challenges, things that may be out of our control that we just weren't expecting. And, God created us, we're human. And so one of the things that he's given to us is the ability to experience human emotions. And he doesn't want the emotions to enslave us. So he doesn't want us to be stuck in our emotions. He doesn't want us to just feel like we're trapped. And, once this event hits us, that we just can't get out of it. There is answers to our problems. And the first answer would be our connection to God. And so he's always with us. He's not going to abandon us. And so the thing that I wanted to talk about today was stress under pressure. So it's okay to question God about why we're stressed. We have so many events that have happened in the last 30 days. We've had several hurricanes that have impacted us right here in the U.S., in Puerto Rico, as well as the Virgin Islands. And, people have been very upset about what's happening or whatever. But then there's people who are not right in the midst of the emergency. There are people who, like me, I'm in D.C. My dad is in Texas, and so he's fine. But initially when the hurricane hit, I did have this feeling of worry and stress, like, is he okay? Then I picked up the phone, and he was in an area where it wasn't hit. Now, the area that he works in was affected, but he wasn't affected. I felt much better once I heard his voice and knew that he was okay. But not everybody had that experience. Some people are still, 30 days out, haven't talked to a loved one. Most recently, we just had this terrible massacre in Las Vegas where someone just started randomly shooting and has killed hundreds of people. And I was watching a story, and a bartender who was at this open concert, she wasn't hurt. And so she was walking around the bodies, and she heard a phone ringing. She picked the phone up and answered it, and had to unfortunately tell the person on the other end of the phone that the person who they were calling is deceased. How terrible is that, And I can only imagine that the person who was calling their loved one, I can't even imagine what the emotions or feelings or the stress and the trauma that they were experiencing, that their loved one is never coming back, and this is the way that they die. How terrible. But these things are out of our control. And so what do you do? How do you go about handling it? Well, one of the things that I'd like for you to take note of is to question God. In Mark chapter 27, verse 45 through 47, I'm just going to paraphrase it. But Jesus was on the cross, and he said, my God, why have you abandoned me? He was getting ready to die, and that was the question that he had for God. Now, I personally, as a Christian, I understand, or my belief is that Jesus is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So we already know that he knew why he was doing this. He knew that he had to die, and he knew the reason why he had to die. So coming down from the cross was not an option for him. But I personally think that the reason he said, my God, why have you forsaken me, is to give us an example of what to do during crisis. So he was not expecting to come down from that cross. He was expecting to die because he knew what the outcome was going to be. He knew what the victory was going to be. But you and I go through stressful situations, and we don't know what the outcome is. We don't know sometimes that this too shall pass. We don't know how long we're going to grieve. We don't know how long we're going to be in this rut that we're in. but we have to remind ourselves that God is with us and that he's doing some work in us. We may be going through a test. We might not like how it feels, but you can always say, God, what are you doing? Let me know. Let me in on the outcome so that you can feel better about the stressful situation that you are currently in. So, unfortunately, that's all the time that I'm going to have for today. I have to, for those of you who may just be chiming in, I do have to make up for a mistake that was done yesterday. So I'm here at an office downtown providing chair massages. So I stepped away for a few minutes to come in and talk about stress, how to remain calm or confident during stressful times. But what we'll do is we will just pick right back up where we left off next Thursday. I'll be with you and we'll go into the rest of the tips for remaining calm during stress. I appreciate your patience and I will see you all next week. Thanks. Oh, before I leave, I have to remember to remind you guys to stop by our Facebook group. It's called the C.A.R.E Essence Network. And then also we have a free gift for you just for being on live on the call today. And that is text the word CARE to 240-618-2866 and we will give you a list of 10 hidden stress factors. I see someone chimed in. I can't see who's on the call, but I was just stating that I'm getting ready to go. So thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate you and have a wonderful day. Thank you.